Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be taking you through my current backpacking shelter setup. A few things have changed, but there's a lot that has stayed the same, so let's follow along. So to go through the things that haven't changed, I still have my Lecky trekking poles. I count these as worn weight, and each one weighs 10.2 ounces. For rain protection, I've got my Hyperlite Mountain Gear flat tarp. This is the 8.5 by 8.5 foot size in the spruce green color. I have taken off the original guy lines and replaced the four corners with shock cord, along with these Dutchware worms. They really help give the corners of the tarp some stretch and forgiveness in high winds. I love this thing. It has been a trooper for the years I've owned it. Of course, when I take this on trips, I leave the stuff sack behind. So all in all, with the guy lines replaced and the additional hardware and without the stuff sack, this piece weighs in at 8.9 ounces. Another piece that hasn't changed is my continuous Ridgeline, also with some Dutchware bling on it. I've got a Dutchware wasp on one end and a Dutch hook on the other. This also comes with soft shackles that I attach to the top of the tarp on both ends to create a classic A-frame. This whole piece plus the hardware weighs 23 grams. Next up are these Z-Packs carbon fiber tent stakes. I usually only bring 2 of these as a backup, but with the change of tent underneath the tarp, I'm going to be bringing 4 of these stakes along. This set of 4 weighs 23 grams. And my main stakes for rigging out the tarp are the Big Agnes Dirt Dagger UL tent stakes. These are 6 inches, a sort of T shape, and I've attached guy line to these. These all have a maybe 4-foot hank on them, and these are for the 4 corners of the tarp. These 2 are to go on the bookends of the tarp. They have a lot longer pieces of zinget, and all together, all of these tent stakes plus the guy line weighs in at 67 grams. These things are pretty solid, easy to hammer in if I need to, easy to remove, and I like having these attached to the guy line. But I actually might change it depending on how rigging up this new system goes. These lines might get permanently attached to the tarp after I do some trial and error setups. I put all of those stakes in this MSR tent stake bag. This is just a standard nylon bag. This weighs in at 5 grams. All right, now on to the main changes. I switched out my footprint for this poly cryo sheet from Gossamer Gear, and I cut it down to fit the base of my Thru Hiker Mesh House 2 tent. So it absolutely fits that footprint. And this weighs 52 grams. And last but certainly not least, the main change I made was I swapped out my Thru Hiker Mesh House 2 from MSR to the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Splash Bivy. Comes in this 2-liter stuff sack, which I will also leave behind. It also comes with these rubber bands, which I will also leave behind. I've yet to take this out and try it out, but I'm really excited to give this a go. It's about the size of a Chipotle burrito, and it does come with a little bit of cordage. So this alone, without extra cordage and without the stuff sack and without the rubber bands, comes in at 6.1 ounces, which is pretty solid compared to my other tent, which granted is for 2 people, but swapping this and that alone is probably going to save me a pound on my shelter setup. So I'm very excited for that. I haven't decided yet on how I'm going to attach the middle of the bivvy up to my ridgeline. I might use some spare cord like some Zinget or maybe even some shock cord if I feel like that will work. we'll see how that piece ends up factoring into my setup. Either way, I will be attaching a little bit of extra cordage here, but the weight is negligible. So I might add some secondary soft shackles to the continuous Ridgeline from Dutchware, in which I have some yellow zinget where I can add some more of those. That is my new shelter setup. I can't wait to give it a try and show you guys a full review on the Splash Bivy as well as the entire setup. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.